Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast featuring Dr. London Smith, one of the few remaining trusted resources for up-to-date medical news and information. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock Doc podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, Dr. LondonSmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as haloacetic acids and Easter Monday, so I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Oh, Dr. London, it's so good to see you, and it's so good to get together with my friend and talk about some of the stuff we love, right?
Yeah, you're kind of coming in with weird energy here.
It sounds like I'm leading to something already, just immediately,
Yeah.
like I've got an angle. No. Oh, well, actually, now that you suggest having an angle, I was thinking that maybe we sort of shake up this show a little bit, Dr. London. I've been looking through some of the popular podcasts that have come out, and a lot of them are like these. It's like recapping shows from 20 years ago. It'll be about The Sopranos or Deadwood or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, how can we capture that audience? So I'm thinking that this is a medical show. This is an interview guest show. It is also a Blue's Clues recap show.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Because
if you think about it, we know that our audience is illiterate. If you're listening to this, just by the way, we ran the numbers. We figured out sort of the analytics and our demographics, and we figured out that every single listener of this show is between the ages of 45 and 55 and illiterate. So I think Blue's Clues would be a really, really helpful thing for them. They can maybe watch the episode before they listen to our episode.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because I have been feeling we're teaching at something close to a third-year medical student level, and maybe we could use a bridge through, because once, as you said, they are illiterate. Sorry, you, the listener, are illiterate, and if there is just the tiniest bit of a bridge between that level of education and where they're at. So Blue's Clues, yeah.
Yeah, and so throughout the episode, I'm going to be popping up with sort of fun facts about the show, like, did you know that Blue it's like a cartoon? It's not really an animal that exists. And did you know that?
Well, do you have evidence for that? Sorry, I don't mean to.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of theories going around. I think when you sort of look at a lot of the frames, I'm really good at detecting deep fakes in Photoshops. Yeah. And when you really look at some of the frames, you can sort of see that something is a little off with this guy.
Well, the Blue's Clues deepfakes have been rampant. So, to me, for you to just dismiss the idea that it's a real dog, I think maybe just unless you have that as a fact, if studies have been done to prove it, then I'm not believing this fun fact right off the bat.
I love this convenient position that, oh yeah, the video where Blue comes out and says that he supports Russia, that must be a deep fake. But all these other videos, that actually must be Blue. Wow, how convenient. It's sometimes a deep fake and sometimes not. Or let's look at the reality. It was created by a computer or a guy drawing or something.
I'm so scared to see where the fun facts will go from here, or the recaps, whatever, because there's so much division right at the start. But I guess we'll see, and maybe it'll probably be easy after.
Yeah, after you
this.
get over yourself and face reality, I think it will be a lot easier. That sounds like a really, really good point.
So that's our producer Cameron. Also with us is Station in the house. The Blue's Clues deepfakes have been rampant.
Blue's Clues. 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 Blue's Clues.
Deepfakes. And later, Cameron tells me we can expect a special guest. Is it Blue?
That
Blue's
I am
Clues,
not sure of. I would say probably not, just because Blue is, according to the pixels, is a deep fake.
Okay, well, whatever. This is
So probably not, but I'm excited to see. Our guests, as you know, are they just sort of like happen. Who knows where they came from or how they came to be?
Yeah, I don't know that you'd put forth the effort now, but you did at one point have sort of, you saw a military recruitment station, and then you saw it and you were like, oh, let's just do that. And so you set up what you called a rival recruitment station right next to it and said, like, you kept, every time they would say like, oh, you got these benefits, these ones, you would shout over him that you had better benefits
Well, and this is also why so many of our early guests are enlisted now, because we sort of came to a compromise, me and the Army recruiter. Like, if they hit up my podcast guest booth first, then we can sort of just funnel them into the U.S. military, and our illegal occupation of other countries and stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, all I have to say, like, you have put forth effort sometimes. It's just, from what it sounds like, not today.
Yeah, again, who knows? Who knows if I'll have effort today?
Right. Okay. Well, before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So, as Cameron said, our marketing demographics have changed. So we are, our consumers, our listeners are illiterate. So the nature of the feedback that we receive is also, it has changed and adapted similarly. So this week's feedback comes in the form of what seems to be a picture ripped out of a coloring book. It looks like a picture of some cartoon mice next to a house, and there's a little scribble of orange crayon in the corner of the page outside of the picture. So this is obviously a good time to remind our listeners that so we should try to color inside of the lines when we draw in our coloring books, okay? Like, it's not funny, it's not cool or silly.
Okay. You don't think that you're limiting the creativity of our listeners who might see a line and scoff at it and say, you can't control me, you can't keep me in between these perimeters?
I get that perspective, and like we say as adults who have gone through this process, gone through that education, we can say after we've done it, let's try to draw outside the lines. But our listeners are not on that level.
Sure, but I think this is like the old that fake Einstein quote, that stupid people quote about how like a fish, if a fish tried to ride a bike, it would think it was a failure because it's just in the wrong environment. That quote that like stupid people.
Well, because fish are terrible at biking.
Yeah, depending. I think this was before BMX, like
okay.
The quote, but yes, but yeah, it's sort of basically like that, Dr. London. Our listeners thrive outside the lines, Dr. London. You look at their drawings and not drawings. They're not drawing anything. They're just coloring it in. But you look at the colors that they're splattering onto this page sort of randomly, and you say, oh, you're doing it wrong. You're judging a fish by its bike riding abilities and not by its, I guess, whatever fish do.
Okay, I don't...
Eating? Floating?
Fish, historically, yeah, they're really good at floating. One of their better attributes. So I just one final thing on my part. So, like, practically, when it comes time to search for jobs, being able to color within the lines is actually super important when it comes to job hunting. You know, you're looking for place of employment. They're gonna want to know that you can draw inside the lines. If you've never done it, if you always scoffed at it, your employer's gonna say, like, well, let's pick the other candidate because they know how to do that.
Do you really think our listeners have employers, Dr. London?
No, but I think this is why. This is why.
Oh. Hey, you know what? You brought up a good argument. You backed it up with the science, and I gotta concede. You're right.
Thank you. It's not about being right. I want to say that. Like, I know outside of the podcast, I will often say it is about being right, but in this moment,
yeah,
it's for the listeners, you know?
It just, I'm a guy who is very pro imagination. Much like Blue and Steve when they found an empty box. This is an April 9th, 2001 episode. They found it in the backyard, and they kind of figure out if they imagine, they can use the box to be a rocket ship or like a car or like an office or whatever.
But
it isn't that cool.
But they couldn't, right?
Blue couldn't because Blue is not real. Blue is an animated dog.
Well, no.
We don't need to get fixated on this again. We can. Do we want to reply? I mean, besides our listeners' coloring ability, is there a reply you want to give?
I just want to, honestly, this is one of those things where I have to be kind of stern and I have to say, like, no, this is a life skill you need to have. Like, it's just, when it comes time to getting a job, they're going to need it.
No, that's true. And I mean, it's not unlike some of the life skills you need, such as when Steve was feeling shy in March 12th, 2001 episode.
No, I call BS. No, that cannot be a fun fact.
Yeah.
What was the date?
March 12th, 2001. So it would have been right before 9/11. I mean, wow. Some months before, like 6 months before.
6 months before, but enough.
It's honestly almost exactly 6 months before 9/11 because it's March 12th.
Yeah. So if he was shy that day, 6 months later, the towers get hit. Okay, I can't, with the evidence I currently have, I can't refute that fun fact.
Okay. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, okay.
That's what makes it fun, is that London can't shoot it down.
That is what makes it fun. Okay. But to the listener who sent the feedback, thank you for listening. And now for today's medical topic, hepatic adenoma. A hepatic adenoma is a benign liver lesion that changes with hormone levels. So, during pregnancy, if a patient has a hepatic adenoma, then the increased estrogen levels from the pregnancy may cause the hepatic adenoma to grow and even rupture. So, pop or explode. So, it should be noted that these adenomas can cause pain with these potential growths and rupturing. So, diagnosis, you're going to want to go ahead and take a biopsy, take a sample of that hepatic adenoma for a definitive diagnostic test.
And also, sorry to interrupt, Dr. London. I actually I did something a little special, but before this lesson, I did some research of my own as well over the subject. And so I mean, do you mind if I?
Please.
Like a question that came up pretty frequently that I had during my research. Okay, so it says set up Google Chrome profile.
Okay. Yeah. No, okay, I get this one a lot.
Okay.
Is that a question? Because it sounds like a statement.
Well, it does say to access your Chrome stuff across all your devices, sign in and then turn on sync.
Did it say NSYNC or like what? I'm sorry. There's just a lot of things that word can be.
Here, let me get closer to my computer.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to? maybe go. Okay. No, you're on top. Okay.
No, I think it's on sync.
Okay. So is that maybe that's a cover band? So you're gonna want to find an NSYNC cover band. I don't know. I don't know how easy that is to find. I've never set up Google Chrome like this. You know, I usually have. But clearly you need to have. I don't know all the members, but that had Justin Timberlake in it, right? As a guy who went
Justin Timberlake, Lance Bass was in there. Some of the other guys. You know, when I went to Six Flags as a child during Christmas time one time, there was a boy band performing of, I assume, just random Six Flags workers that called themselves Boys to Christmas. Do you think they're still performing?
I think for your sake, to start up Chrome, you're going to have to find that band and I guess invite them over, see if they can figure it out.
Oh, I imagine they won't be able to.
Okay, just based on how they performed?
Yeah, they didn't seem like they had their ish together.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe and I see that. So this has really been bogging down your research. We'll have to come back to it. Honestly, I'm sorry to say.
What do you mean bogging down my research? Sorry, that was my research. Yeah,
sorry. The research. Well, you know how you get bogged down in your research. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah, I was very busy. Yeah. That is true.
Okay. But I'm sorry to go back to this, but you'll in a hepatic adenoma. One of the reasons you'll want to biopsy it is because adenomas have a small, but still there's a risk of malignancy. So the biopsy is it's actually more essential in adenoma than in some other liver lesions. So.
And that reminds me of actually something that had come up in some of my research as well.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
So for this one, you have to select just continue without an account.
You have to?
Okay, and then you get for this research that I found, yes.
Okay.
And then you get to this new page that says customize your Chrome profile, and you can add a label or pick a theme color or both.
Okay. And
so that's where my research just sort of led me.
Okay. You're just presenting your findings.
Topic.
I thought you had a question, but it sounds like.
Oh no! I'm participating.
Yeah,
I'm trying to inform the.
No, thank you. And it's you seem to just criticize what I do, but this is a great example of how you can bring your own presentation.
Well, and the medical lessons on this podcast just spread so much misinformation that I feel like maybe injecting some real information would be helpful.
Yeah, no, we do. That's a lot of our feedback as well. So, okay, well, so great. So that's the medical lesson, and that sounds like that's also the research on how to use computer. So I guess we'll move on from there if we're both finished with our presentations.
Let me see. Let me check my notes real quick. Okay, so they have, dark purple is what it's selected by default, but they do have dark blue, dark teal, dark green, dark red and orange, dark pink and red, beige, orange, light green.
So I don't want to cut you off here, but I'm wondering is this aspect of the research, do you need my help for it, or are you just working through it, and you're just kind of...
Oh, yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm speaking out loud and just working through it, This is part of the job.
Yeah, I relate.
This is the research. This is
whenever
what you got to do.
Your head is in it.
Talk it through.
You can kind of obsess. So, but yeah, let's go and move on.
Light blue, pink and white.
I hate to...
Light purple and white.
I hate to catch you in this again, but I do the same thing. We should move on because the listeners are very illiterate. So...
Okay. Just, if you check your Chrome profile and you don't like the color, just remember whose fault that is.
Okay. No, I'll take that. All right, Cameron, you said that we have a guest today. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London. Today we have one of the most interesting and coolest guests that we've ever had on this show, Dr. London.
Wait, I'm sorry, both?
That's what he said.
Okay. So interesting.
So self-described.
And coolest. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, hello there. My name is Dr. LondonSmith.com. This is our producer, Cameron. What was your name?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here across the pond. Here, I'm Professor Gnarls Xylophone.
Oh.
That's Gnarls is in
Gnarls.
Gnarls, but no G pronunciation. Xylophone is in xylophone X pronunciation.
Okay.
Okay, so you're sort of a Gnarls Barkley xylophone guy? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Funny enough, no. But, however, I
That
am
is funny.
friends with
That is
the
very
former. You remember the dog from Sesame Street? We do have a relationship, a friendly relationship, platonic, friendly relationship.
Wait, yeah, which dog are we talking about on Sesame Street? I've got to recapture some childhood memories.
Barkley. Barkley would be the dog, big fuzzy dog.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, so we've formed a company together briefly, Gnarls Barkley Education. I'm, of course, an educator. That's why the professor. That's not actually my given name. It's a title.
Wait, the professor?
Professor
is the
Parks.
title? Okay,
yeah.
not the X-xylophone.
Gnarls isn't a title, is it?
No, Gnarls is a name. Gnarls the Fourth.
Oh, wow, a family name.
Because for Cameron, the Cameron was a title, and then the producer was your given name.
Yes. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
in my culture, we sort of swap them around.
Did that determine your profession?
Didn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to become what you're named after. That you do have that expectation.
It's a good thing I started a company with Gnarls. I would have had to be who knows what. In England, Gnarls is some kind of a ditch digger.
Like
Oh.
Dr. London, for example, if he was from my culture, which is north central Dallas, it's sort of like a very specific culture.
That's a culture then.
If Dr. London had come from the same thing, he would be forced to leave and be shunned because he became a lowly doctor rather than a smith, which is what his last name is.
And instead, I was still forced to leave, and I still am shunned.
Your culture is very similar to ours, then.
Yeah, just unrelated to. I think that's a
you
little
were
more personality.
northeast Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ugh. So you could tell by my accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never gotten used to some of the regionalisms here. It's such a big country. You would have also had the option to become a capital city in my country.
Professor Xylophone, where is your country?
Oh, well, I come from over there across the pond, the United Kingdom, the UK, England.
You finally united? Well, you did
Thank
it.
you. I like to think of it that way. I haven't lived over there for quite a while. I'm over here plying my trade as an educator. I've been here in the USA for, I don't know, something like 25 years, perhaps. I have to be a little vague. You'll see the nature of the school that I run is a little clandestine, if you will.
I want to hear Professor Gnarls Xylophone. What are you?
Xylophone, yes.
Xylophone.
You sound Cameron. Your accent.
I'm so sorry. My North Central Dallas accent is just really coming through right now. I'm very, very embarrassed.
All right, so I'm not prejudiced.
You should be, because if you met a lot of the Northeast Dallas people like Dr. London here, you would judge a lot harsher. But what do you teach exactly? What do you do?
Well, I come from the Gnarls Xylophone School for Swell Kids. That's actually one of the reasons I'm here. We're going through a branding change, a name change, along with an announcement. So I would say it's less traditional education and more super ability management is more the head of the curriculum, the focus, if you will.
Oh, so like they're real, like you're talking about AP classes. They're really smart, so smart it's basically a superpower.
This is a lot like what we do with the podcast.
Right. Excuse me, it cockney there.
Ours is also very special. A lot of our listeners are very special.
Oh yes, I see.
Actually, do you want to show the professor some of the drawings? I know you hate them because they're drawing outside the lines, or coloring outside the lines. If you could just
yeah. Let me just So this one, yeah. So this one, as you can see, it's meant to be a unicorn, but then they drew a picture of it's just a stick figure hanging from a tree and on fire. and it has an arrow drawn to it, and it says Lomben, which I think means London. So they're really fun, exciting.
Yeah, it's usually pictures of something with an arrow pointed at it that says Lermden, Lomden, Loomden, or some sort of.
It's always tend to be a violent
bastardization of London.
Yes, it tend to be. Strikes me.
No, you say yeah. I would say a lot of them are more stink line related. We've covered that pretty extensively on the show. Sometimes it'll be you'll just look very weak, and then there will be a drawing of me next to you, and it's sort of a counterbalance.
Yeah. And some that's clearly post-mortem. A lot of tombstone drawings, which they're so good at their shapes. I'm so proud of our little class.
Yes, I'd suggest saving some of those in a file, maybe for evidence later, just in case there's any pending.
They all
case.
go on the fridge.
Yeah.
They all go on the fridge.
Don't worry. Yes, they are, and we'd expand the fridge.
I'm very impressed. I thought it was some kind of I thought it was a wall when I came in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can see the wall is actually not supposed to be that thick, but it's just, literally layers and layers of thousands of these drawings. It's very...
Thickness of the wall doesn't matter if you know any children who can walk through walls, if you know what I mean. Which you don't, because I haven't talked about it.
Wait, what? You teach ghosts? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, not ghosts. See, this is
Is there a ghost here? Am I a ghost?
Well, I don't know. You do keep disappearing, but that might be a virtual background issue. I'm not a technical expert.
Yeah, that would be more of a London expert. London's sort of the producer of the show. He sets everything up, does all the computer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, haven't dealt with ghosts, but perhaps psychic residual energy turning into some type of malevolent supervillain. We get that occasionally at the school. But no, I'm here to announce that I'm here to announce to the world. This is a scoop, as I believe you Americans call it.
Oh, wow.
A sclusy.
Yes. Sclusy Lucy. I believe is the journalist who first coined that. She was from England. But I'm here to announce that in my school, the Gnarls Xylophone School for Swell Kids, we have actually been keeping under wraps mutant powers. The next step of human evolution is actually inherent to the genetic makeup of the students in my school.
Wow.
If we're talking the next stage of human evolution, Dr. London, do you want to show him your extra finger?
It's in the other room.
This is interesting. Detachable, eh?
Well,
he took it home from work.
It was impressive because, you know how worms can creep and crawl along. The finger figured out how to do that. So I say it's in the other room. Last I saw it was in the other room. And it's been kind of on the move here. It could be, I had to put rags at the bottom of the door so it doesn't get in.
Can you control it with your mind?
Oh no, it's got
a mind of its own.
Yeah, I don't know whose finger it is, if that's what you're getting at.
Well, no. I have a student. We call her Limmy, and she can actually control severed limbs once they've been severed.
Wow.
Her mutant ability that she has, heightened awareness and ability to control severed limbs.
Yeah, I want to hear more about, you say mutant ability. When I think mutant ability, I think arms, extra arms growing out of your body, or you look like a sewer monster or that kind of thing. But you're talking about walking through walls and controlling limbs. What?
Just to clarify here, we talk on our podcast so much about genetic defects as well. So we're on the same page here. Familial adenosis polyposis, MEN1
lactose intolerance.
Yeah, we're on the same page with you here, but yeah, keep going.
Chronic underweightness, skinny jeans, I believe that one's called.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. We covered the skinny jeans quite a bit.
Sure. Trauma-induced. Okay, people getting kicked out of their culture or attacked with knives. Those are bootcut genes, I believe. But we all know genes. We don't have to show off here. And what happens is with certain individuals, what we're finding is when they hit their adolescence, they emerge this superpowered X gene mutation, which they're then able to demonstrate. We've had to stay in hiding in order to keep these youngsters safe from the world. But I'm here to announce that we're here. In the words of millionaire Paul Kirby, William H. Macy's classic character from Jurassic Park 3, I'm not going anywhere. And you can take I'm and change it to we if you like. It applies to all of us mutants.
Was he referring to his future jail cell?
I'm not sure. The film was mostly about dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how much it went into
he could
his
be
daughters
with premonition powers, perhaps.
Oh, wow.
So it's all these folks, like all these young people in their adolescence. When you refer to their powers, are any of them like? Do you just mean they get hot? Because like I don't think it's fair to exploit all that. Like a lot of people say like,
crass American term, hot. What do you mean hot? Do you mean attractive?
A lot of
that's the wrong program.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of exploitation happens at that age, and I don't want to like be all down on you from the start here, but like it sounds like maybe
like are you asking if the powers are puberty basically?
Yeah, I guess that is my question.
Like, are a lot of the kids' powers like acne related or like pubic hair related or something like that?
The acne hasn't come up, and really I leave that to their medical professional. We don't really examine the pubic regions at the school.
Good.
I'm not sure I'm not really sure what American education system is like, but I know you do eye exams in school, but
if you had a medical doctor on staff, I don't know. I just don't understand. What are these? Give me some examples of some of these powers so I have a better sort of grasp of it.
Yes. Well, when you say hot, that's why I was asking. We have a child that can generate fire just from their skin, turn on, fire.
Wow.
One of the misconceptions is that these powers could be dangerous. That's why we've had to be in hiding. We have to watch out. We've got some that can read minds. We have some mutants that can see what you're thinking and
I have a friend
broadcast it to others.
Whenever they know my sign, my astrological sign, they do the same thing. They can read my mind.
I have a buddy who won a 4-game parlay, and he only bet $10, but he got like 400 back. Do you think that he falls into this category?
Well, it could be. He should come by the school. I'll give you the website and the address because, like I say, we used to be under hiding. Now we're announcing we're not hiding anymore. In the words of Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu, John Cho portrayal in Star Trek Into Darkness. All due respect, sir, but we're not going anywhere.
Wow. Was he talking about William H. Macy's future jail cell?
I think so. It's a cameo that was cut from the film. It's nice to be on here with some cinephiles. I find these quotes help to deliver the message.
Huge movie head. I've seen all the biggest ones. Avatar.
Longest ones. You mean you've seen the longest movies?
Yes. Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
I watched a Ken Burns documentary all the way through in one sitting, which I consider a movie. It was an 18-hour movie.
Lord of the Rings trilogy, extended edition.
Well, I've done the Lord of the Rings marathon, but never the Ken Burns. That would be a good tradition. Well, we'll do that at the school next Christmas break. Many of the children don't have homes to stay in. That's why many of the mutants get angry. Oh, it reminds me actually. Do you mind? Can I do a quick? I believe you Americans call it a shout out to
for sure,
audience
please.
member. Thank you. Eric, I know you're out there and I know you're listening. I know that you stalk every public appearance that I have in this insane chess game that we play for the souls of mankind. Eric, please come to your senses. Back down from this plan to kill all the normal humans. You must stop. You must come to your senses or me and my special enlightened youngsters will stop you at every turn. I know that you dream of strolling casually over the corpses of the humans like some god ascending to a throne as the new evolutionary step. But you must see reason. Anyway, thank you. I just that was a little shout out to an old friend.
Can I do a follow up to that?
Oh, sure, yes.
Just okay. So, Eric, you're 44 to 45 years old. That much I know because you listen to this podcast. I also know that you're illiterate because
that's quite an assumption.
Because you listen to this podcast. No, we've run the numbers. It's pretty specific here. So, Eric, So if you see a sign that's red and it has 8 sides, I know numbers are going to be tough. Stop sign and colors are tough. And actually, I don't know that anything I say on here will help that much.
It's possible. I'm not sure that he
Can-
knows the concept of how to stop his actions.
Can I do a bit of? I mean, are you done? Yeah. So just a quick shout out, Eric. You are an English rock and blues guitarist, singer, and songwriter, widely regarded as one of the most important and influential guitarists of all time. And I think that's really special.
Are you talking about? Wait, that's a 44-year-old?
Different Eric, perhaps, but.
I really, if it's one of our listeners,
I don't know. I've never seen them. I've never seen them in the same place at the same time. If it's the Eric, I think I do know that they're both tired of all the BS. They say.
Oh yeah, the Eric I'm thinking of is very tired of the BS and snowflakes.
Wait, is BS a reference to Blue's Clues somehow? Blues.
Yes, S stands for clues.
Okay.
In England, that's how we spell it.
Wow, this reminds me of a classic Blues Clues episode, Blue's Favorite Song, where Blue introduces Steve to Cannibal Corpse, and he goes through all the hugest hits of the band.
You say Blue's a fan of Cannibal Corpse, then?
Huge fan. That's what that episode is sort of about.
So much to learn from this. Yes.
What was the clue in that episode? Was there a clue? Or was it just show him the band?
I believe the band members make a cameo in the episode, and so I think the clue sort of leads them to their tour van, where then they get to sort of like smoke weed and hang out with them.
This is one of this episode's a little harder to find in the streaming services.
Oh, these days, yeah, because of copyrights and everything. But yeah, I mean, Blue starts talking about, Hammer Smash Face, I Come Blood, Inhumane Harvest, some of just sort of the like most popular CC stuff.
I should introduce you to Streaming Simon. He's one of that's a nickname we have for one of our students. His mutant ability is that he can locate anything in streaming.
Pirate it?
No, he just knows where it is. He just knows where it is, but he can hone in on the cheapest of it. But now, if he's hanging out with Password Pete, then you got something going there.
Is someone's special ability like knowing how to torrent things and maybe set up like a Plex server?
No, we haven't found that one yet. That's an interesting one to watch for. We do have her name is Spreaker Seeker is what they call her. She actually can broadcast her own podcast through with her mind. She doesn't need any equipment. She just broadcasts it. But it has to go through the app Spreaker.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is extremely specific. But it sounds like it would save on hosting, right?
Well, yes, and they do keep pressuring her to upgrade. You only get 10 episodes for free. See.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, especially to have your powers tied to a subscription service like that.
Oh, well, she's only 15. It's hard to get a job, But next year, she's thinking of taking it past the 10.
Yeah, maybe if she worked on coloring within the lines, she would get somewhere. Sorry to bring this up again.
Stop trying to stifle imagination, Dr. London. Who are you? Do you not remember the lessons we learned from Blue in the Box?
Yeah, Blue the real dog. What about it?
In our school, coloring outside the lines, metaphorically as well as in some cases literally, can have dire consequences.
This is sort of what I want to hear about. So earlier you had said people think our kids are dangerous, but they're not at all. But then you also say these kids are really angry. You said a lot of our kids are really angry, and then you also mentioned a kid who can create fire out of nowhere. That, to me, is a combination that I don't really trust super well.
And the password thing.
The password thing was honestly really concerning.
Nuclear launch codes.
As a person whose identity has been stolen 164 times, the password thing is really, really stands out.
Yes. Our student Scanners has gotten, they nicknamed her that because of the movie. She's gotten a lot of flack. You've seen the movie where people's heads explode. Anyway, but, not to get into too much specificity on that, this is why they need guidance. This is why we need to have a school that is set up so that we can come out into the light. In the words of Tank Sullivan, James Garner's character from Space Cowboys, we're staying.
Oh, wow. Was that in reference to the Star Trek reference to William H. Macy's future jail cell?
Yes. Once again, I see you've seen the shared universe of these movies. People think the MCU started it, but
no, it was the Jurassic Park 3 Star Trek And
Yes, but that's where one of the things that we're trying is different names. Like I said, we have a branding problem. Swell Kids just doesn't get across the message. We were thinking of doing the school for superpowered dudes and dudettes, trying to tie in with the young people. But I felt it was a little cis-normative,
Yeah, I mean, definitely in this day and age, you might want to avoid that because you don't want to have to adjust it in the future or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe like bros and hoes. Is that a little bit more?
I still think you're running into the same gender
binary
issue.
still comes up there. I think that might be delving a bit too deep under the surface of the kids.
I mean,
culture.
is bros, hoes, and those too? Is that maybe too disrespectful or
putting it on the list? I like to keep as I say at the school. There's no wrong answers.
Maybe like well,
it depends which class.
That's a big distinction from ours. There are a lot of wrong answers on the Jock Doc podcast.
That wasn't your medical school culture?
No, well, I mean, to some extent, it wasn't art. They definitely, it's when you ask how much of this concoction do we add to this one, they would be like, eh.
Well, you had a class that said there is no right answer, and everyone got every question wrong.
Yes, and that was one of the easier classes. Yeah. Like I got a lot of extra credit actually. That's how I did so well in that one.
Oh, wow.
I put a lot of answers, a lot of like essays saying like, I know I'm wrong, but still.
But I'm going to double down on it anyway.
Yeah. And they were like, that's what we want in a doctor. We want you to be wrong the whole time, but still
and
insist.
Then when being shown new information, not adjusting at all.
Yeah.
Standing your ground.
Yes. Don't get me started on stand your ground. It reminds me of Tom, one of our students. They call him Doubting Tom or Doubting Thomas. It's a little, but he makes everyone believe they're wrong. He can. He doesn't always do it. Yes. It's only if he means to or sneezes near you. You'll doubt every decision you've ever made.
Oh,
that
wow.
Sounds safe.
Yeah. So are they in control of these powers, or is it involuntary? Is it like a sneeze produces it, or?
Well, it really depends on the child, doesn't it? It's something that we're trying to work on. We're trying to work on that control aspect, and we as far as visiting passes and off grounds, we encourage them to stay on the grounds with their powers. For some reason, they all seem to be a little invulnerable to each other. Not sure why that is. Superpowers seem to come with a certain amount of invulnerability without actually calling attention to it. Not sure why that is either.
Well, yeah, you gotta have a little plot armor just to keep things logical.
I'd say that is a big difference between your school and ours. Is most of our listeners are pretty sick, pretty vulnerable.
Yes.
They're and a lot of them have. It's sort of the opposite of plot armor. It seems that our podcast does make people ill.
Yeah.
It compromises the immune system.
Well, we have healers too. I mean, I want to give the other side too. We have some kids who can cause healing with a touch.
Oh, wow.
And we usually pair them up, roommates, with the ones that cause death with a touch. So, that's just a lot of ways we can work with the reasonable accommodations of these mutant powers.
Oh, maybe you should use something like that in your branding, right? Really focus on the positive aspects of it, even in the title possibly, and that'll just trick people into not thinking about these angry fire kids.
I don't know. The fire's super important.
Yeah, and it's badass, which helps.
Oh, do you think I toyed around with the idea of putting the word badass into the title of the school?
Like the Badass Bunch?
Ooh, very good, very good. Now,
gender neutral.
You wouldn't mind saying out loud that you relinquish the title to this idea, would you?
Yeah, I relinquished this title in exchange for 30 points on the back end.
Oh, well, how about a guest professorship?
Do I have to do anything?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, you could give a name only, or you can come do some guest lecturing.
I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to show up, but I would love the title and whatever accolades come with that.
Well, hey, I think you're selling yourself short. You have so many genetic defects and, deformities that I think you could share.
Yeah. Is this rash? Is this a mutant thing?
No, it depends. Does it emit any kind of radar signal?
I mean, do you want to smell it? And is that what you're talking about? Because it does stink.
I'm my own mutant power is to project energy and telekinesis and move things around, but I can't smell through Zoom. I'd have to get Smelly in here. It's not a very good nickname. I'm trying to encourage the kids not to call him that. But he can smell anything through any electronic means.
Tell Smelly it's a perfectly normal nickname. Lots of very professional, highly educated people have that nickname.
Medical former child actors?
For instance. It's tough to pin this stuff down on who has what. But yeah, it's a super normal... people like it, honestly. Like, I think it
honestly
actually
there were so many Smellies in my class, it was hard to keep track. We had to start calling them Smelly R, Smelly P, Smelly
Well, now
S.
the stink lines certainly make more sense as we're going moving forward.
From the feedback,
I do. I really appreciate the reduction of shame. That's one of our main goals at the Xylophone Badass Bunch. In the words of John Watherson, Aidan Gilbert's adept performance, and David Mamet's The Winslow Boy, here.
Oh wow!
It's just the one word, but it's very powerful.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, no, I was counting.
I believe in the movie he's handing something to someone, but still, I think it resonates with my goals for the children.
Yeah. On that note, I feel like we're talking about schools, we're talking about
don't do this.
Getting work done.
I know what you're getting into. Let me ask one more question before we get into it. So your goal as an operation is rebrand, let everyone know you exist, and then what?
Oh, well, we're here to help. We've been actually low-key protecting the Earth for quite some time. These powers are quite useful, especially with Eric and the Angry Mirrors.
Yeah.
Anyway, nastiness that we don't need to get into. But there's lots of things going on that may have ended the world by now if it wasn't for my students.
Lots of smells that need to be smelled through Zoom sessions.
Yes, that. Yeah. Yes, that would be the most important. Nothing to do with disasters or, cities being dropped on other cities or anything like that.
Yeah, protecting the world from the illiterate Erics that are out there.
Yes. Don't antagonize too much there. Let's just tread a bit cautiously there.
I'm just trying to be accurate. But yeah, okay. And I'm sorry to pull it again, but we gotta get some chores done today.
We gotta do these chores. Do you want me to explain what even the hell you're talking about? This is you, listener.
Yes.
What the hell is Dr. London talking about? That's you. That's your stupid ass. So, this is basically, what is a chore? A chore is a task that you've been assigned to do. And unfortunately, Dr. London and I have been neglecting all of our chores around the house because things have just been too busy around here. We've gone through like 1,500 Blue's Clues episodes in the last few days just to get ready for this podcast. London didn't even know that it was for the podcast. He just thought this is a fun time watching all these episodes.
I'm still suspicious. Yeah.
But so we created this fun chore wheel that we spin every single week, and whatever it lands on, no matter what, we have to do it. And Dr. London, even if that means acknowledging that Blue is an animated dog. If that's the chore, you have to do it.
Yes.
And I don't know how you thought ahead and put that on the wheel, but yes.
Because it's been there for months.
Yeah. So actually, if, Professor, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving this a spin.
Oh, yes. Let me get the old telekinesis ready. I'm going to do it without my hands, if that's all right. Just project my mind power.
Yeah, that's great. There it goes.
Okay, and it's flying around us. Okay, and it's
slowing down and speeding back up. Are you doing that intentionally, or is it just a poor connection through Zoom?
How do you want it to land on something, or do you want it to be used as a projectile weapon?
Ooh, I've never had these options before. Dr. London?
Choose. I guess. But is there a reason why you switch it to a weapon? Like, why that's an option on the table? I know you keep minimizing the idea that your school is full of violence and bad anything, but it really sounds like it kind of swings back around to that.
Yeah, you defaulted to using this object as a weapon. Sort of like that's always an option.
Well, I mean, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, if you could just, maybe just land it and then stop it on a particular chore. Okay, there we go. And, oh no, of course we have to do this, but we've got to do our TED Talk. Yeah, all of us have been assigned a TEDx talk. And unfortunately, I've been putting it off. And Professor, you're on this list too. You're going to have to do one as well.
Oh, yeah. All right. I will gather my. How do we do? Would you take turns, or are we presenting together?
We're going to take turns, and we're going to. This is for the new TEDx Snapchat, so they're trying to keep these to under a minute. Apparently, I guess Gen Z can't comprehend anything over about 90 seconds. So we're giving, we're trying to reduce it some.
You don't have to tell me, Zoomers and preparing lectures.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to deal with these Zoomers who can also, kill you.
Well, I'll tell you, weapons safety class, supervillain destruction class, converting raw energy into lasers, all of those classes, got to break them down. Bite-sized chunks. Bite-sized chunks is a class. Not all of them are in that one, but that's another class.
That's an elective.
Yes. For those with steel teeth or, otherwise.
A lot of chewing based.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Dr. London, do you want to get this going?
Yeah. Let me pick a lecture. And it's on a topic that we choose, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my topic, and I've gone on about this for a while, but Blue is a real dog.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. Now, whenever we've all watched Blue's Clues, of course, and for anyone listening to this who disagrees, we'll send me an email. 90 seconds. Okay. So you've seen Blue give us clues. What kind of fake dog could do that? Point number one. The types of clues we see. Blue will walk over to, say, a hairbrush, and he'll go, burr, burr, burr. Real dogs are capable of this, and maybe that's the point that people are missing here. Real dogs can also go up to stuff and bark at it, or burr, burr, burr at it. Possibly, I haven't seen every dog, but if they were blue, potentially. So that's one thing. Real dogs, and Blue both can bark at stuff. So that's a lot of credit there. Blue. In the show, okay, 10 seconds left. Blue also in the show was friendly, just like a real dog, and was into that one band, just like real dog.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, I disagree, Dr. London, but I've got to give it up for such an eloquent argument.
Well done. I'm convinced, and I don't go in for the cryptozoology very often.
Yeah. Well, it's just, it's facts, and it's just clear and it's evident. Okay, Professor, would you like to take a spin, give us just a little sample of maybe one of your lectures, or whatever you're feeling for this TED Talk?
Well, yes, there's one that I do out in the public. When I'm going to identify. See, there's certain code words that I'll set this up just a little. Mutants out in the community have certain code words, and one of them is silly string. So I won't go into the meaning. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and give that presentation, a shortened version of it.
Okay.
Those of you out there, hello. If you find yourself with special abilities or powers, please resist the urge to silly string those around you, those who would torment you, those who treat you badly. Don't silly string them. Don't need to silly string your family. Silly string can be quite serious. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And why is it temporary? Come on down to Xavier's Badass Bunch and you can learn at our boarding school why you don't need to silly string the world. Just silly string those that are trying to silly string the world, like Eric.
Wow.
And time.
It was very smart to make your TEDx also an advertisement for your school.
Well, thank you.
That was a good idea.
Thank you. I just thought it occurred to me.
You're probably feeling like a fool, Dr. London, huh?
Yeah, I could have been advertising for the podcast the whole time.
Or just your hospital.
Well, I mean, you might make the argument that you're preaching to the choir for podcast listeners here. They are already made it this far into this thing.
Advertising for the hospital, it's been pretty full.
Oh, yeah,
It's been pretty
that
good.
sucks.
Business has been good.
Business has
so,
been hot.
Yeah.
You've got some very small advertising team out there, let's say, virally spreading the message.
Yes, it's going viral. It's fun stuff. But Cameron, you ready for your TED Talk?
Yes. Since the dawn of time, man has judged other men by the way they dress. And it has brought war and famine and conflict and all of these things. Which is why I think the ultimate solution is that we, as humans, evolve past the need for clothes and wear garbage bags. Garbage bags, insulated, A. B, keeps the rain out. C, black, which black matches everything. Well, it can be white as well. White also matches everything. D, you can put some of the trash that you have throughout the day, you can put that in the bag and then just toss it later. Did I already say D? E.
10 seconds.
Oh gosh. So if you put the garbage bag on, if you cut a hole in the bottom, then you can stick your head through, and then you cut 2 holes on the sides, and those are your arms.
On time. Okay. That was good. That very informative.
I love the action item of the self-made poncho. It was wonderful.
It's, it's encouraging creativity, but also causing people to think a little bit like, hey, why do I spend so much money on clothes?
Many of the modern trash bags can also contain fluids and parts that may be torn apart, or perhaps leftovers from a regrettable incidents. Let's say,
yeah, like
they're very strong
when you wear
Silly
it
string
and then you
someone.
wet yourself.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
That sure, but yes, parts. It was fragments of bone, whatever it is that's in the bag. No, we don't like.
Yeah.
You don't need to open a bag once you've tied it closed.
No, especially if you're using it as a diaper, you probably don't want to open it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess would you mind? Because we have to store this chore wheel every week. It's
certainly
formatted a certain way. Would you mind?
Yeah, dealer's choice. Oh, yeah. It just sort of, it's like it evaporated. That was kind of cool, honestly.
Oh yes, cool. Yes, I hope so. I wasn't quite sure where to put it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't destroy it. Wait, what did you do with it? Did you just move it?
I slipped it into a interdimension, just an in-between dimension.
Oh
Okay.
no! But what if they get our chore wheel
Oh no.
and then they try to monetize it? Oh boy.
Okay. That's.
Ooh.
Have you trademarked it yet? Were you supposed to, or was I?
My computer has been acting funny lately.
Oh, the Chrome thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chrome profile thing.
Interdimensional trademark law is notoriously hard to prosecute.
Yeah, so even if okay. Well,
Okay, what-
it's done, I guess.
Yeah. Professor, is there are there any other? I know you've got your school to advertise, but is there anyone you're a fan of out there that you also want to give a little shout out to here?
Oh, yes. At the school, we've been turned on recently to the Broken Brain podcast. That's Broken Brain, or The Broken Brain. You can find it wherever you have podcast distribution services, or apps, as you Americans call them. You can listen to this. It's hosted by Dwight Hurst, who is a psychotherapist that looks at psychology, culture, and things that make the world a bit more interesting. So that's available. And so we're also currently producing a lot of bonus episodes. You can catch the audio of every episode in the regular feed. The YouTube video with the full video of interviews is also available through Patreon, as well as bonus episodes.
Now, does your student who handles podcast hosting, can they do a Patreon feed separately? I know that the podcast you're talking about isn't hosted by your student, but just in general.
It was
And
Spreaker specific.
Well, yes,
The
that
Spreaker
one was Spreaker. This one's a bit beyond.
Oh, okay. So your student couldn't produce like a private RSS link.
Well, Spreaker's got, I don't know all the features, but probably, well, you know what, we'll look into that. That could be
With enough
good.
guidance,
Yeah.
as you were saying.
Oh.
Maybe that's what the
This
school's
is your
for.
guest lecture opportunity.
Yeah,
You can do the podcast
okay.
production class. Many
Yes.
of them have, and like angsty teenage podcasts as well. So this would be very popular.
And it'll be good to tell them about how screwed up their genetics are as well. Just from a medical perspective, how we've gone over it so much on this podcast. I don't want to go into it further, but yeah.
Shame reduction there, sort of an alternate policy to shame reduction then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially if I'm going to another school. Yeah. So, thank you so much to Professor Gnarls Xylophone for sharing about your school. We're excited that it almost seems like our schools are the same, just like the slightest differences between them. Like maybe ours is a little bit more prone to violence, a little bit more scared to be, I guess, public. Whereas yours obviously is, you're trying to make a big step out there. Thank you so much. Thank you to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Did You Know in the House? Did you know in the house?
I'm not going anywhere.
Did you know the house? Is a real
Badass, which helps.
Badass.
Which helps.
Did you know the house? Is a real dog.
Which helps.
Real dogs are capable of
Which helps.
Real dogs are capable of
Which helps. We all know
Did you know the house? Is a real dog. So that's a lot of credit there. My name is Dr. LondonSmith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.
Toodaloo.